join us.
I'll be there eventually, but for right now, we're live right now. Michael Rand here, Ryan Kostecka. Wolves lose game one of the Western Conference semifinals, 99-88, Ryan. All four teams in the conference semifinals, the home teams have lost every single game now, 0-5 in the conference semifinals so far, including that crazy Indiana game. The end of that game was bonkers, but
Yes, it was.
the start of this one was not bonkers, and it didn't get any better
No.
for the Wolves, man. All that said, I still like where they're at, but I want to hear your takes first on what you saw at Target Center tonight.
The crowd was into it. I mean, this is by far the best crowd, loudest crowd I've heard this season with the Wolves. You could tell there's the storylines. I mean, we've talked about it all week long leading up to this. Every time Jimmy Butler touched the ball, the immense booing. I mean, there is nothing like a fan base that is scorned or feels scorned. Right. It's incredible. Honestly, I kind of expected the Warriors to win game one. You've seen it already. The Wolves had 6 days off. That's a lot of time to kind of rest and almost kind of fall out of rhythm a little bit.
Sure.
The Warriors, you're playing fresh. You're here. You got to try and steal one of these two games. So I expected them to come out and give it everything they got in this game. It definitely didn't play out the way I thought it would. I thought the Warriors were going to win, but not like this. That's for sure. I mean, this was, with all due respect, an ass kicking in the most respectful ways to say. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. I think the series, I still take the Wolves, but I think this series just got a lot more interesting. But, I mean, we've got the big injury hanging over everyone's head now. What's going to happen to Steph Curry? There's no way we see him game two. There's no way. Not after this win.
I'd be surprised if we see him in games 3 and 4. I mean, a hamstring strain is a serious injury.
Yeah.
Hamstring strain is like, I'm not a doctor, but I've got Google. And it's like, this is like a 2-week injury at the minimum usually. Now, this is the playoffs. This is Steph Curry. Like, you don't know how serious it is yet. We'll get a fuller update. No chance he plays game 2. You're right.
No.
And you're pushing it if you're trying to get him back any sooner than that, because he could re-aggravate it very easily, and then he's gone for not just the rest of the series, but perhaps the rest of the playoffs. If they were to advance, I think the Wolves still win this thing in 5 or 6. Honestly, I think they win the next 4 games probably.
Wow!
But I think they just got they haven't played a defense since the end of the regular season.
That's what
this is not Luka Doncic waving at you anymore. This is not Austin Reeves trying to get in front of you. This is not the Lakers of no depth. Golden State's got depth, and this isn't rookie coach JJ Redick at the helm either. This is future Hall of Famer, 4-time NBA champion coach and champion player Steve Kerr. So those are obstacles they have to overcome. I still think they're the better team, and the Curry injury is the thing that gives me the thing that's I'm like, the Warriors can't win this series if he's not going to play any more of this series. I don't know where he's at health-wise, but if he doesn't play much or isn't effective, I still think the Wolves win this series.
So there's no doubt that the Wolves were outplayed, outcoached tonight. We'll get into that a little bit. A little more on the Steph injury. So it happened after he hit that runner to that floater in the lane early second quarter. I believe it came with like the 8-minute. It came with 8:48 left. He had 27-20 with that floater. So he hit that, and then he came down. He was a little kind of hobbled a little bit. Mm-hmm. He hit Draymond Green for a 3 that made it 30-20, called a timeout, and he hobbled to the locker room at that point. The good news is for the Warriors, for Warrior fans at least, is that if it was a little more serious of a hamstring, he's immediately kind of calling, and it's tough to him. I popped a hammy before. It's brutal. So he was definitely ginger. He did walk off on his own power, so that is good news for him. But, I think you're right. If he's out, I mean, there's no chance for this. If you're the Warriors, though, you're just thinking in your mind, we have to win one more game to get to a game 6.
Yeah.
Because at that point, not only is game 6 at home for the Warriors, but between games 5 and 6, it's a 3 full days off.
Right.
So, and at that point, then if you can win that game with Steph returning you to a game 7, as the Warriors prove not afraid to play here tonight. Anything can happen in game 7. We know that. I think the Wolves win, but I'm not willing to, be as assertive as you are about it. I mean, there were a lot of other things that were very troubling tonight if you're the Wolves. The biggest thing is you are the bigger, stronger, more physical team, and you got absolutely decimated on the glass. I mean, it was 51-41. They out-rebounded you by 10. They had 6 more offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
I mean, that should not happen.
No, that can't happen.
It really should. You look at the Warriors starting 5, right? Jimmy Butler led the team with 11 rebounds. Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, Pajemski, 8 rebounds
Yep.
each. I mean,
Yep.
that is absurd. I really thought Kerr might mix things up and go with Quentin Post in the starting lineup over Buddy Hield just to get more size. He stuck with what works for him. He stuck with his best 5 at this moment, and it really paid off. The Warriors did a phenomenal job crashing the glass, like I said. I think Jimmy also had 7 offensive rebounds, which
Yeah,
is
he
just
did.
it's insane. Then the flip side, Ant led the Wolves with 14. Gobert had 11. No one else had more than 5.
No.
So the Warriors did a great job crashing the glass. I do think maybe some of the averages even out. The Warriors shot better from 3-point territory than they did from the field. When's the last time you heard that stat, Rand?
Well, yeah, and the Wolves, I mean, we said when they went 7 for 47 against the Lakers and still managed to close them out, we're like, well, when is that ever going to happen again? 5 for 29 tonight, right? I think that's where they wound up, and they missed their first, I can't remember, 13, 15, however many it was before.
16 in a row before Nas.
Nas put the one in. So you're like, they can't keep shooting like that. Well, it's been 2 games in a row. They're not going to shoot this poorly.
No.
But that's concerning that whatever it is, whatever combination of nerves or whatever it is seems to be impacting them. They're just not making the three. I mean, they were a great three-point shooting team at the regular season. They were top 5 in, makes, percentages. Like they can shoot the ball just fine. It has to start though inside out, not outside in. They started to get to the basket more in the second half, started to chip away at that lead, started to make a few threes. They can't just shoot their way out of trouble. They got to get those open shots. They got to get themselves to the basket. And you're right. The rebounding was terrible. The offensive rebounding. You're right. Ant was fine from there. He ended up with a decent stat line: 23 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists. But he was trouble in this game. I thought Dante DiVincenzo was trying to do too much in this game. He was amped up. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been borderline unplayable in the playoffs this whole 6-game stretch. I would almost like to see I'd almost like to see Jalen Clark at hits minutes at this point, but he can't make a shot. He doesn't look comfortable. He's not making the defensive plays. He was a minus 13 in 14 minutes tonight. So they've got issues, but I'm still saying the better team. And if Steph's not, however long Steph's out, the Wolves have the advantage. I think they win game 2 pretty easily, and then it's a toss. Three is probably a toss-up, but I think they still win that one, and they start to cruise in this series after that.
See, I think it's going to be my take is that I think game 4 is going to be the big game of the series.
Probably.
That's going to be the big one. I think the Wolves are going to cruise in game 2. I think it's going to be ugly. Warriors, they're known for doing their job. They got their job done with all they wanted was a split. I mean, you look at what the Warriors did, though, even after Steph went down, 26 assists.
Yeah.
It's a team that just spreads the ball. And what makes them so difficult to play against is their style of play, the cutting, the off-ball cutting, the movement. It's very hard to prepare for a team like that, And so for the Wolves, they have to do a better job of communicating on defense. And what strikes me as crazy is they held the Warriors, to 99 points, 39% from the field. I mean, defensively, they did play really well. They did lose themselves on, some communication issues a little bit. But when you have Rudy Gobert in the paint as a rim protector, and you have Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and whoever else on the perimeter, there's no reason why these guys should be getting lost on screens.
No.
There really isn't. It's a communication issue. Offensively, you said it best. Too many times did the Wolves get to the paint and then kick it out for a contested 3. The Warriors, I will say, did a phenomenal job of collapsing the paint and then sprinting out, And so I think it came for the Wolves. It's as simple for them shooting the ball from the threes. When the Warriors sprint out to them, they're trying to pank that extra pass. You don't necessarily have to, because all it's really doing is allowing the Warriors to get back to their spots. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with a pump fake and a drive back in, or a pump fake and a reset. Yeah. Nas did that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker did that as well. He just wasn't falling, and we talked about. So there's a lot of little things that I just did not like with the way the Wolves did. You like to think they're going to adjust. I do as well. Chris Finch is still a very good coach. But I thought Steve Kerr's ability to pull up that zone in the second quarter, that really took the Wolves out of any comfort zone they might have had. That was a brilliant move, and that was the first chess move made right there.
There's an update.
Well, and 11 points for the Wolves in that quarter.
So I got an update. Kerr said they're planning for Curry to be out Thursday. He's day-to-day with an MRI tomorrow. So, like we talked about, we knew that there's no way. Yeah. But I said, Kerr pulled the first move by going to the zone. Yeah. You like to think the Wolves will respond to that, but that was very big.
I'd be surprised if Curry plays 3 and 4, but that's just me. I think
4 is four at the earliest, in my opinion.
At the earliest, and you're back. It's just it's one game of rest. Like game 4 is what, like 5 days from now? Like it's
5 days
from
now.
it's going to be hard for
Yeah.
him to come back that fast. You never know. We don't know how severe it
We,
is.
we don't. It's that,
But
tomorrow will be very telling.
But if he didn't play the rest of this game, like even a mild hamstring strain is 10
Yeah.
days to 2 weeks at least. Usually, this
And
is the playoffs. I know. It's the
affects a
playoffs.
player like Steph Curry so
Yes.
much, though.
100%.
That's what people don't understand. While maybe a Draymond or a Jimmy or someone who's not used to, moving to or elevating or use athleticism might not affect as much. Steph Curry, I mean, off the ball, running through screens, everything, that hamstring is going to bother him. He's got the right thumb injury. Now he's got a left hamstring injury. I mean, it's not looking good for the Warriors. So if you're the Wolves fan, I think, you're not angry, but
yeah, I think like the biggest hiccup here for the Wolves was, struggling from 3-point range, struggling from rebounding, and we're just not seeing them look as crisp as they have in when they were playing well against, so I think some of that you got to give credit to Golden State. Like I said, like this is a better team than the Lakers were. It's a tougher matchup for the Wolves. They have more depth. They played a ton of guys. Like they're even though they just got done Sunday with that series against Houston, they have more in the tank than LA would have had at any moment. Kerr is a much better coach at this point in his career, certainly, and probably just in general than JJ Redick. Like they have some things that the Wolves probably just weren't used to. They weren't used to seeing so much defensive resistance. They weren't used to a coach who could kind of throw those chess pieces, like you said, throw that zone at him, throw something at him that wasn't going to throw a wrench in their own game plan, like playing all guys for 24 minutes in the second half. Like they will have more obstacles to overcome in this series, but I do think they will get there. I think they woke up a little bit in that second half.
They definitely did.
That third quarter, though, that was the key, though. When you know Steph is out, when you're only down 13 at halftime, you've just played a terrible half, but you're only down 13, and then to see that go to 20 at the end of the third, like they needed to make their move there, and they just did not.
Also, this is a team that I mean, if you want to panic, but they scored 57 points in the second half. Ended up with 88, had 31 at the half. So this is a team that is clearly capable of, figuring it out offensively and putting it together. I do think the Wolves they're built for this. I'm going to assume Ant is a better shooting stat. I mean, the whole team will shoot better across the board, especially from 3. Randall, 4 of 11. Mike Conley, 0 for 5. Ant, 9 of 22. Dante, 3 of 11. I assume some of those guys will get back to the norm, but also I assume, Buddy Hield's not going to be 5 of 8 from 3s. Draymond Green, 4 of 10.
I know.
Gary Payne second, 2 of 3. The Warriors hit a big 3 every time they needed to. So
they did.
A lot to be said about a team being there and, used to this pressure and this spotlight. But at the same time, if you're the Warriors, the last thing you want to do is almost mail in these games till Steph gets back. Because the Wolves, like we talked about, look what happens for a team that catches momentum. Look what they did to the Lakers. This is the Wolves team that is young. They are hungry. And they're still very, very talented. They're more talented than the Warriors. Steph's out. They have the best player on the court.
They do. The problem too, though, is something they do. The last thing they have to overcome is this is a team that the last 2 playoffs has been much better when playing as kind of chip on your shoulder, something to prove. When they've been the front runner. Remember last year they had something to prove against Phoenix. Everyone was like, oh, they can't, Phoenix was 3-0 against them in the regular season. They're going to lose this series. They go out and sweep them. It was them against the world. They take a 2-0 series lead on Denver when nobody's expecting it. Then all of a sudden people are like, oh, man, Minnesota's going to run away with it. Denver wins the next 3 in that series, and the Wolves have to scramble and can come back and win that series. Then they've got home court against the Mavericks. It looks like they're the better team. They lose that in 5. The Lakers, same thing. Like everyone's expecting the Lakers to win. They come out and do it. This series, they're favored, and they lay an egg in game 1. So they've got some things to overcome here. I think they will, but they've got some things to overcome here.
I agree in the end. I mean, this is the big growing moment for this team.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they want to prove that they are legit, title contenders, you saw what the Nuggets did to the Thunder. I mean, the Western Conference is wide open.
Wide open.
100%. I mean, any one of these 4 teams can go, and you're looking at what you're seeing in the East. I mean, heck, the NBA champion is wide open. I mean, there's no clear-cut favorite at this point. No. Indiana? Maybe? I mean, like, good Lord.
Well, I mean, geez. The ending of that game was nuts. I was waiting for the Wolves to start. I'm like, I turned it on. I was like, oh, they're down 7 with 45 seconds left, and they get the call overturned, and then just Cleveland just gave that away. It was unbelievable.
We were watching on press row, and it was just everyone was going nuts about it. It was crazy. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's wide open. So the Wolves, like you said, they are better. They are better when they are challenged and when
Yeah.
they have that underdog mindset, that nastiness, that tenacity. You never saw it at all tonight. Not at any point. I thought for the most part it was a well officiated game, except
Yeah,
for all the
that's fine.
breaks. I mean, that was
Yeah.
brutal.
Oh, the weird stuff. Yeah.
It was there.
Shorts, buddy shorts.
Oh man, it was very physical, but I think that the emotions were kept in check really well.
Yep.
There seems to be, I know the teams aren't the biggest fans of each other, but there's a lot of respect, it seems, in the series. So I'm curious to see what the Wolves do if they can't, like you said, Jimmy hasn't played with anyone on this Wolves team, but he's in Minnesota, right?
No.
How do the Wolves do if there's no one to hate? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they had something to prove against Luka, and had LeBron. Now Steph's out. I mean, what does this team have to prove? They got to find it within themselves. They got to dig for it. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. But we talked about there's simple fixes for them.
Yeah.
They got to start playing, like you said, inside out more.
Yeah.
And to get to the paint, finish at the rim. The Warriors don't have a rim protector. Don't kick it out like you're used to doing in the past.
No.
Finish with authority. That's going to be big.
Couple things on X before we go. John says rebounding was a bigger problem than shooting. G says it starts and ends with the head coach. I don't think he was too impressed with the Chris Finch game plan, especially compared to what Kerr did to them in this game. I think those are both fair points. I think they got to rebound better. We already talked about that. I mean, especially on the offensive glass, they had some possessions where they're giving up 2, 3, 4 shots, and then one of them's going to go in.
Smaller teams,
those are just killers too. Like those long possessions that end in a 3. It's just like you had to stop on the initial one. The ball bounces around, somebody gets it, picks it up, throws it in. I mean, there was some weird stuff, but yeah, the rebound's got to be better, and I think Finch has got to come up with something to combat whatever they were doing defensively. They just didn't get into a rhythm at all until it was too late.
I'll be honest. I thought Finch was fine. I thought Kerr going to the zone. It's a great coaching move. It's a little desperate in game 1 to make this big of a play. I think, it says, especially when you're up, you kind of have the momentum. Maybe flash it, but then don't stay in it as much. So I think it was a little bit. It can be kind of looking.
It was working though. It was working. It worked,
right?
It was working.
So I expect Finch and them to be much more prepared for it next time. So. Kerr threw the first punch. I'm curious how Finch responds. I don't think he was terribly outcoached in a negative manner. I really don't. So it'll be interesting to see what he does next and what he draws up. And then once again, it flips back. How does Kerr respond to that?
Yeah. Yep. Well, game 2 becomes a must-win Thursday. No Curry, which we already know. So you would imagine they go into that with a massive advantage. They're playing for a lot more right now than Golden State. So if they get it back to 1-1 going back to Golden State, I think they still feel okay about where they are, but they got to come out better. I think we'll see a better effort from them. If we don't, though, when we do this next 48 hours from now, then we will be in a panic mode, Ryan. We will be in a panic mode, but I don't think we're there yet. We're not even close. We are in Aaron Rodgers RELAX mode right now.
I got 2 predictions in a sense. I think it's either going to be a Wolves and a massive blowout, or this could be your Jimmy game.
Yeah.
That's the one thing if you're the Wolves, and that's what you're telling us is why you have to come out and steal this game. Not even steal it, just come out with better intensity and physicality, because if you hang around, this could be the Jimmy game that, and then Warriors are up 2-0 going home, and all of a sudden, oh boy.
Can't let them steal it. You got to put this one in the...
Exactly. Put it to bed early.
Absolutely. Well, we're not going to bed early. It's 11:42 p.m. and we still got work to do, but we're going to go for now. Ryan, appreciate it. We'll see you in a couple days.
Appreciate it, Mike.